Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Man Does Mounjaro and I've lost 70 pounds in 5 months now taking Mounjaro. So this is my Saturday video, which I do every week. I think this is the 4th week now. I do my weekly update and I do a Q&A session where I answer your questions to the best of my ability. Bear in mind, I'm not a medical professional, never have been, never will be. So it's purely my own opinion. But what I will say this week, hold your horses, this week's going to be a little bit different. Because I'm away in France on holiday, there's going to be a few changes to the format today, but I will show you the one thing that derails me whilst I'm on holiday in France. Woo! So that'll be coming up in a little while, so look out for that, and I'm promising you, you're in for a treat.
Questions and answers.
So let's get straight into the first question. And it's a really interesting one, not one I've ever thought of sort of before. So it threw me a bit at first, but it's a great question. And it's from Bella Diallo 8126, and she basically asks, has your resting heart rate changed much since you started the jabs? Absolutely amazing question. So I'll put a little screenshot up here and it will show the graph of my heart rate for the last 12 months. I'm looking at it now in front of me. I started the jabs in May and you can see where it actually declines in May. Now I have got a bit of it does go up again in August, not sure why that is, but there's definitely a dip in May. For the last 12 months, my resting heart rate is a 66 beats per minute. My average high is 116 beats per minute. Also, if I go into 4-week view, my average resting heartbeat is a 65. With a high of 113. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm a 53-year-old bloke who's still overweight, so I'm not really sure what that all means. All I know is that you want it to be fairly low. So 60, 65, 66 sounds good to me. I hope that answers your question. Right, so the next question is SJ Mounjaro Journey, who's previously asked a question. Go and check out his channel. He's quite early in his YouTube career, if you want to call it a career, but his videos are just getting better and better, so drop him a sub and a like and a comment, because he seems like a decent chap to me, and you can see he's grafting as well, so good on him. So his question, how strict has your diet been and how often have you broken it, and if so, negative or positive at the end of the week? Well, apart from the obvious things which I've spoken about in the past, which was my son's wedding, a stag do as well, that wasn't great, and also I went to watch England play at Wembley, what was it, a few weeks ago now. Apart from that, I've been really strict, and the reason I've been strict is probably because of what Mounjaro does to you, and it makes your appetite disappear, and it makes you want to eat less. So, is it by choice? I don't know. I honestly think it's the medication at the moment still. I'm not convinced I've learnt these new habits that I'm supposed to learn, but we'll see. Does it affect me? On the week of my son's wedding, I put on weight. The other weeks, not really made a huge amount of difference. I think if you're in the zone with Mounjaro, you're kind of in the zone. So, yeah, I mean, to summarise, I've always been fairly strict because of the medication and the cost of the medication. Why am I going to spend that money and then just go and pig out? It seems pointless to me. But yeah, to answer your question, the one weekend when I was really bad, it did affect my weight at the end of the week. The other weeks, not so much, because I've been so strict in the sort of run up to those days or those weekends away. But thanks for the question again. Appreciate it, mate. Right, next up is Derek East 6221. It's quite a long one, but I'm going to read it out. So after 6 weeks of taking the weekly injection of 5 milligrams, I'm constantly getting heavy diarrhea and sulfur burping. It starts around 36 hours after taking my injection. This weekend was particularly bad with a bloated stomach, and I even had to take Monday off work. My diabetes is well controlled, but weight loss is very slow, around 9 pounds in just over 10 weeks. Is 5 milligrams too much for my system to handle? Should I lower my dose to 3.75? I am waiting a consultation from my diabetic practitioner to discuss this further. Now, Derek, as I always say, I'm not a medical professional. I purely give my opinion on my journey, and I'll always be honest with you. From the comments I've seen, mostly on my channel, it does seem that if you're taking the medication for diabetes, you do seem to lose weight slower. Again, not a medical professional, that's purely what I've seen in my comments. 5 milligrams could be worth going down to 3.75 and see how you get on. Although I would imagine your doctor's not going to recommend that because it's kind of an unauthorised dose, so you might be taking that upon yourself. And there are a few bits and bobs you can do regarding the sulphur baths to make sure you're staying hydrated. Maybe try peppermint tea as well, or herbal teas are supposed to be really good for it. And also try smaller meals too, and avoid foods that are high in sulphur like eggs and that sort of stuff. And of course carbonated beverages are going to get you bloated too. I'll be interested in a follow-up on that, Derek. If you've had your phone call with your practitioner, be really interested to see what he said, and if he's given you any advice, that's whatever he was sharing with the rest of the community. But good luck, Derek, and I hope you manage to get that sorted. Right, before we get on to the next question, just want to say the amount of support this channel's been getting is absolutely phenomenal. I'm nearly on 2,000 subs now. When I started it, never ever thought that anyone would have any interest in anything that I've got to say. I started this channel to sort of document my journey, almost use it as a diary, and as time's gone on, it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, I'd just like to thank every single person that's either liked, commented and subscribed to the channel. It means the world to me to be part of the community where I can share the knowledge and the learning that I've picked up over the last 5 months. And I like to think as my journey is your journey, so we're all in this together. If you haven't got around to subscribing to the channel, please do. And like I said, it does mean the world to me. So that kind of brings me in nicely to the last question of today's Q&A. And it's from Jane Waters. When you reach your go weight, will you still be doing this channel? Also, how will you maintain once you get there? Right, so the channel's not going to go anywhere. The way I see it is all the videos that are on here, they're almost like a diary of documents and knowledge that people can draw on as they start their journey. So there'll be people 12 months down the line who are still going to be starting a Mounjaro journey. There's going to be people 2 years down the line going to be starting a Mounjaro journey. And all the information they're ever going to need is going to be on a channel like mine. So that part of it is going to be staying exactly the same. When it looks like I'm going to have to transition off the medication, which I'm thinking is probably going to be 2 months, maybe just after Christmas, maybe just before, but we'll see how the weight loss goes. It's going to sort of head towards maintenance, head towards sort of midlife health, midlife fitness, but always keeping that sort of core Mounjaro community and journey right at the middle of it, sort of principles and what the channel's for. So yeah, at some point it's going to pivot a little bit, but it's always going to be about Mounjaro. It's always going to be about weight loss. It's going to be about wellness, and it's always going to be about this journey to being a better version of me, or a better version of you, I guess. But so Jane, that's kind of the plans. As for maintenance, my head is still buried in the sand on this one. I've not got to the bridge that I'm going to cross where I then decide what I'm going to do. So kind of in a couple of minds at the moment. I'll probably do a video about it maybe 4 or 5 weeks time when I'm a little bit closer to having to make that decision. So I'll get back to you on that one because I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm watching a lot of other people on YouTube, seeing if I can sort of draw any information from their videos and their vlogs and see, right, this is the best road to go down. Should I go down that road? I'm not sure. I've got a friend who injects every other week now and he's maintaining quite nicely, so that's one of the options. As I said, head's in sand, not going to cross that bridge just yet. But a really good question and a really interesting question that we will discuss in a video in the future.
Weekly update.
Right, so moving swiftly on to my weekly update. Wow, this is awkward, isn't it? There isn't one.
No way.
I've not been able to weigh because I didn't bring any scales on holiday with me, albeit I'm in my car, didn't think to bring the scales. So my weekly update is there is no update, and I do apologise for that, but I will obviously update next week. Now, as I said, I'm on holiday. Things are a little bit different when you're on holiday anyway, aren't they? So mentally, I'm happy not to have weighed this week, and I think people would get that, because is it taking your foot off the gas a little bit? No, probably not, because I haven't eaten anywhere near what old me would have eaten if I was on holiday. So yeah, I'm more than happy with that, and I'm in the right place. I'm in the right mindset where I know when I get back to England on Sunday, I'm happy that we'll just go again. I took my injection before I left, so that's absolutely fine. Possibly eating a little bit more than what I would normally eat, but yeah, you're on holiday, enjoy it. A couple of things I did want to mention was staying in the Ibis budget for the last 2 nights in a place called Limoges, and there was really interesting signage around the hotel, and I'll pop it up here now. So this one, it basically says, and it was next to the breakfast buffet, which is a really cool idea, and it's got a picture of a croissant, and it says 1 croissant equals 150 burpees or star jumps. What a great idea that is. Having it as a breakfast buffet, just help yourself, take what you want. Picture of that, straight away you're going, wow, I won't have 2 croissants today, I'll just have 1. And the other one was, there was a sign in the lift, which I'll stick up there, that side, and it basically said about, why don't you take the stairs instead of using the lift, because it's much healthier for you. It's a really, really good idea, and I think more places should probably do similar sort of signage like that, just to make you think, just to give you a little tickle to say, hang on a minute, do I need to do that? However, this brings me on to my final subject of this video, and I know it's been a quick one, but I do apologise for that, but like I say, I am on holiday. Now, when you're in France, if there's one thing for me that's going to trip me up, this is it now, and I'm going to show you it. It is absolutely, oh, this stuff does me every time. Look at this. Look at that. Oh my God. Oh, it's just fallen on the floor. I've made a mess. Uh-oh. So that is €1, and it's called Flan Nature, and it's the thickest, yummiest, custardy, tarty, flanny type thing in the world, and I dread to think how many calories are in that, and I've had one of those every single day while I'm on holiday. So yeah, if I come back and my next update is, yeah, I've put on 7 pound, it's because it'll be because of that. Okay. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I know this video's been a little bit different than what I would normally do on a Saturday, and I do apologise for that, but we'll be back to normal business next week. If you've got any questions for Q&A, label them Q&A, leave it down below in the comments, and I'll see you all again on Wednesday for my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you've got any questions. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate it, everyone.